Karen Bass is taking a lot of heat. So is Gavin Newsom. But there's going to be a recall on Karen Bass. We will see what happens. But a lot of people think she failed in terms of leadership and, you know, where budget cuts may have affected the fire department. And there are other people who are saying, how dare you even talk about that in the middle of the fire? So where do you stand?
Well, we all took a lot of heat. I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. You know, we shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals, because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy, which is what conservatives always say after a mass shooting. This is not the time to politicize it, and then it never is. It is absolutely the time to talk about it. And this is what my editorial is about Friday night on the show. Was it always going to be bad? Of course. Their arguments are not wrong. We built the city in a terrible place to build a city. Global warming absolutely does make hot stuff and weather worse. Winds were ridiculous. Yeah, I get all that. And they also made a lot of errors. And if you held Bush accountable for Katrina and thought Rudy Giuliani was an idiot for putting the command center in the World Trade Center, which is the place they attacked for and were most likely to attack again, which he was, well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad. All of these were always going to be bad, and they always seem to be the worst they ever possibly could be. So, no, I think we should demand better.
You know I watch your show every Friday night when you're on. And I followed your journey trying to get the necessary permits to take down a shed in your backyard over a period of, I believe, more than a year. And
no, it's what I had to build. I was trying
building
to get
the shed.
The solar. This is for your solar.
The solar.
Yeah.
Trying to get the solar hooked up, which, by the way, is what the state wants you to do.
If it took you a year and going on television every week shaming the state to build a shed for solar.
Just to get solar panels.
When you look at the red tape with the Coastal Commission, with building and safety, with all of the rigmarole you have to go through to build a house, and especially after hillsides may be compromised and whatnot, and you look at the scope of this, how optimistic are you that that could change enough so that LA can rebuild?
I always think there's a middle of the road, actual practical solution to everything. And for this, I would say, was California's uber progressive politics the cause of this fire? Of course not. Did it impede them to some degree? Absolutely. That's the margin of error I'm saying we can't abide by anymore. Now, as far as the red tape, I see that they're all, Newsom, Bass, they're all saying, we're going to cut red tape, as if they're doing us a favor. My question is, well, if you can do it now, why don't you always do it? Obviously, it can be done. It's not a favor to us to cut the red tape. Why do we live in this state, in this red tape nightmare, the other times of the year when we're not on fire?